Hello! This is going to be uploaded before Friday Night Smackdown starts this week. So just know one fair fact. I found Smackdown to be somewhat entertaining. The funniest part of the episode was when John Morrison just shouted down the crowd when he was talking, trying to sympathize with the crowd, going over the dirt sheet, going over the Miz's history and how he got into the business and stuff, and how they formed a tag team into calling a fan a douchebag. And then they cut it off from there with the New Day coming out in a rematch with Kofi Kingston against The Miz. And it ends off with a distraction, running senton off the steel steps to stop Biggie Langston from interfering in the match to help out Kofi over John Morrison. And it was a badass spot because we can't have John Morrison without his amazing athleticism coming over the steel steps. And we know we've seen a lot of cool moves with him over the steel steps. Came off of a roll-up victory in The Miz, stole a victory, 50-50 booking. They even went over the promo they had before the match. They went over Kofi Kingston a relevant title reign and how fast he lost. And I was like, oh my god, haven't you both gotten relevant title reigns? Other than Kofi Kingston that won it at WrestleMania, he never main evented at WrestleMania, but I'd rather take a WrestleMania win for the world title than main. Well, no, I main evented WrestleMania and The Rock was there to interfere in a match. And I beat John Cena. So that's like way bigger than beating Daniel Bryan. Like Cena was like an 11-time champion, I think, at the time. So it was pretty big for The Miz to do that. And he pinned Orton twice. That low Jerry King Lawler feud a bit. So we're not going to count that. So, interesting opener. Didn't really like it that much. I thought it was just a quick motif for just a New Day to be like, whoa, chill out, man. It's PG. Now, speaking about PG, the only thing with P and G I want to see is with Xavier what? And I'm joking. I'm sure. I know Biggie Langston wants to, like, break up a bit of, like, adult jokes with their PG gimmick of being the New Day and strictly being child-based comedy, but it sucks, it's corny, and it doesn't work. No one likes it. Even for certain kids, especially mentally retarded kids, it's not that clever. If it's easy to scope out if you're like into like the IWC or you look at a lot of wrestling media, you will understand the references. If you don't, it looks pretty corny, cheesy, and for a cheap laugh. I get it because I gotta research all this stuff. John Morrison came. He was on Talking Smack. He even showed up the previous week on Smackdown, not to intervene in the match, but to speak to The Miz in the locker room for a backstage segment after. It wasn't Charlie. Another interviewer wanted to ask for a Miz interview after the match, coming up to his locker room, and he came like he didn't want to speak right now. So that was pretty much John Morrison's return. There was also Sheamus' return on SmackDown with a shocker heel turn and throw kicking Chad Gable. I'm sorry, Shorty G. I'm supposed to get used to that? No, I'm not, because it sucks. The name sucks. The match was nothing to scoff at, just the same thing except more clever roll-ups, predictable setups for the SOS. I felt like it was so basic to show, like, these guys know each other, even though these guys have been wrestling each other for, like, at least nearly a decade and a quarter. So it's not that much to scoff at. It's not that impressive. Like, these guys, like, wrestled each other for the Intercontinental U.S. title, the tag team titles, at least more than once. So I'm just really not that interested to see a Kofi Kingston and The Miz match, even in 2020 when these guys are established characters in the WWE. Other than in 2010, I would still be bored, even though The Miz, like, literally had his best year. Next up was, of course, Alexa Bliss versus Mandy Rose, and Mandy Rose won off a bit of a backstage segment. My case, I find it adorable. A little bit of a quick little romance drama with Tucker, trying to talk about Mandy Rose not trying to be in his life, and then, oh my god, Otis literally getting like with it Ziggler sent the gift, and it was a cake. Then they came in the middle of the match with Mandy Rose with her running bicycle knee, getting the victory on Alexa Bliss, and I guess Mandy Rose is now the babyface now because she now has a romance with a heel. I mean, with a babyface tag team. And now Alexa Bliss, former multi-time Raw Women's and SmackDown Women's Champion, is now a jobber to Fire and Desire that kept losing to teams like the Kabuki Warriors for a few months. So yeah, uh, yeah, really didn't care. I find the dynamic with, even though it sucks for me to say, I find it interesting because at least I want to build up something with these guys, and it's one of the most funniest parts of SmackDown. Yeah, I find it actually a little bit of a quick little romance. It's pretty nice. It's watchable, it's tasteful, and it's a bit funny. So I'll give it this. They already gave me a 2 points on that because John Morrison returns, brought back his entrance music. Didn't bring back the slow mo though. You know, if you watch old time SmackDown, he always had slow motion. That was like my favorite part of his entrance. It actually felt like he was in a freaking movie. And it felt like it was like short notice that John Morrison would even come back after like most of his time establishing himself as John anything on the Indies and winning every major belt. We had Lacey Evans have a jobber match against Sasha Banks, and she didn't even show up. And yeah, wasn't there just to speak to Bailey, call herself a bit of a something mother. I didn't really care. The feud doesn't go anywhere. I felt Lacey Evans just getting this because she's just a C level Charlotte Flair. She has a basic heel feminist gimmick, and then they make her babyface and just like give her some TV time, and it's so freaking boring to watch. And it just ends up with a fight in the back, off an ambush off Bailey, and it's like trying to build her up as a heel, even though she got her ass kicked in a triple threat match, and then she got her ass kicked by Shayna Baszler a couple times. Like it's not building herself as an established heel, other than the floaties are in her way, and now she looks like she she really had a terrible breakup in college. And Sasha Banks is just with her because of history. So I understand they're trying to build up this feud, and I think they've been having this for about 2 months. So and Bailey hasn't defended her women's title since like that one time, like the go I think 2 weeks before Survivor Series from last year against Nikki Cross. I think that was the last time I saw Bailey defend her women's title, and it's been pseudo irrelevant that I think people just like think that's the longest reign for the women's belt. I think. I think it is. I just know because it's barely on TV. It's never defended. It's never heightened of the discussion. You have Mandy Rose. You have Mandy Rose, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross. I think Naomi. It should be a lot of women trying to chase that one belt, or at least get ready for the tag belts, even though it's mainly Asuka and Kairi Sane on Raw. So there's no like show of any thrill, like any like mission for any of the women in the women's division because most of these ugly little B-level superstars are on Total Divas, wasting their careers. I don't know what creative has anything to do with this, other than you don't give them like any point to succeed. Nobody's trying to chase the Intercontinental title only because Braun Strowman is chasing for the Intercontinental title. No one's trying to chase for the women's title except Lacey Evans. No one's trying to chase for the Universal title other than Daniel Bryan, but that's been established in the triple threat match involving Baron Corbin and Roman Reigns. So they're obviously trying to make a rematch for the Universal title coming to the Royal Rumble against The Fiend and Daniel Bryan. We had a non-title match against Shinsuke Nakamura that also didn't defend his title, I think, until November. Against Braun Strowman. I thought it was okay. Enziguri, a couple no-sells. It came off a power slam, and I think he shoulder tackled on Sami Zayn and Cesaro. It was a pretty alright, watchable match to have. I really didn't care, because it was a non-title defense and Shinsuke hasn't defended his new Intercontinental title design in a while, either that they're trying to wait so they can get into like people getting used to the belt, or they're trying to waste their time with a stupid animation of the belt. Because they always have this little animation to always show title defense for the championship. So, yeah, I didn't care. I know they're trying to build up Braun Strowman back with a singles role, even though he danced. Your top big man in the company danced with the New Day. How is this building this up to the guy who legit, like, I think sucker punched Brock Lesnar? I think he really kicked him in the face, I think. That was back in Royal Rumble like 2 years ago. And he did it. And he got his ass kicked for it, but it showed that he's a legit, like, big threatening dude that actually makes some damage on Brock Lesnar happen. And people loved him because he beaten the crap out of Roman Reigns. Shinsuke lost to Strowman, so obviously they're either going to build him a title shot or just give him a program with him that's not going to amount to much. I have low expectations because they already wasted 3 years of Braun Strowman since his singles run out of the Wyatt family back in 2015. And then since 2016, they came from squash matches to him losing on pay-per-view, and then he gets a random feud with Baron Corbin, with him winning. It still didn't amount to much. He was supposed to face Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble in the beginning of the year to push him up to at least somewhat of a main event status, except then he just gets nowhere. He was not even in the Royal Rumble match. And he didn't face anybody for the Universal Championship until September of 2019 against Seth Rollins, where he lost against a guy who beat Brock Lesnar in 2 major pay-per-views. So, my expectations for Braun Strowman really fell down the window as soon as 2019 happened. It was really rough. Because it was either him thinking that, oh, he's going to be the next top guy. He's big, super surprisingly athletic, seems to get over with the fans, whatever he says, and he is intimidating to look at. He's going to be the next taper, maybe like a more scarier Big Show. No, he's not. He's just a big, bearded, soft piece of crap that they don't know how to write a real big man. And it's sad. Because Big Show's came back and grabbed all the headlines, and we don't have any legit big men. So we thought, thanks Mark Henry retired, Kane is gone, Big Show is on Raw, Braun Strowman's supposed to be the next top guy, and he's facing off against the secondary most important belt in the brand next to the Universal Championship. And guess what? Nobody cares that he beat Shinsuke Nakamura. I'm gonna just say it for you. Usos had their tag team match against Baron Corbin and oh my god, how did I forget Dolph Ziggler for a split second for the main event of Friday Night SmackDown? And I gotta say, this match just had any type of thing they can. The revival came in as soon as the Usos were getting into their super kicks, momentums, rest holds across the board. I didn't care because their style of wrestling just comes into hot tag, crossbody, a bit of tag team work because the Usos are fast paced in their ability, but I said this before years ago because I got fed up whenever I did a SmackDown review. I compared them to 2 indie wrestlers or top wrestlers. I don't want to say that it's indie because now they have their own primetime slot and they're on a major television network like TNT now, and they're on and the other tag teams in an international stage in Japan. So I can't like disrespect them all because it's not that mainstream. It's still a primitive and pretty well-known wrestling promotion to some wrestling fans. So I'm not gonna disrespect them like that. But I feel like the Usos are just a combination of Gorillas of Destiny and the Young Bucks. They show like their slick movements in the ring, but overly repetitive flash of athleticism and their overusage of a single move like the super kick. And it really showed in some moves, even though I think they did it like 3 times in the match. But it just bugs me because I've watched the Usos wrestle since 2010. So I know what I'm talking about when I say that their wrestling ability has looked good, but it's always been repetitive when you see it for a long time, like seeing a Stone Cold Steve Austin match on Raw or SmackDown. You know it's just gonna be a brawl fest. So yeah, that's how I felt. It ended in a DQ with Roman Reigns coming in to intervene when the revival came to help out Baron Corbin. They double clothesline him. Robbie Roode came out as soon as he had Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns had Baron Corbin, and what looks to be he was about to hit him with a suplex, and then Corbin came out of nowhere, pounced on Roman Reigns, and Robert Roode came back and beat the crap out of him. And then came off burying him under a conference table to end the show. And it was okay, because Robert Roode's back. I didn't even hear news about Robert Roode. Most of what's been the biggest thing on pro wrestling is Tessa Blanchard, the new Impact. I'm trying not to say TNA so bad. And if my mic was actually pretty good, you would have to hear the come out of my voice before I said Impact. Because Tessa Blanchard is the new Impact Wrestling World Champion. And I watched the match. It was like watching Sami Callihan beat the shit out of his girlfriend for a world championship. And I felt like, oh, it's great, intergendered wrestling. But it feels a bit uncanny because she pinned Brian Cage. And so you think, okay, she is going to lose. She is going to beat Sami Callihan. But doesn't that undersell the fact of any other future top guy in the world in the heavyweight division, like having an opportunity? Like we already failed with James Storm, Magnus, Bobby Roode being happy, AJ Styles being happy. Abyss is gone. Somehow you lost Abyss. James Storm on NWA Power. Eric Young's on Raw. A lot of future top guys. Even Bobby Lashley, the guy that collected most of the belts except the Knockouts title. And I don't even know. Hard to Kill was okay. There was like 3 good matches, and most of them were just brawls, ended in DQ. Even the Brian Cage versus Rob Van Dam matches ended in a no contest because Cage couldn't continue. So Daga just came out of nowhere. I did not care about the show. I felt it had a cool name. Ken Shamrock coming back after it's been like I think since 2000, like back in the day when my cousin had either DVRs or had DVDs of old WWF pay-per-views. I watched Ken Shamrock back then, and it was like, oh my god, this guy's a fucking badass. And he comes around like popping the shoulder socket of Madman Fulton, and it was like crazy. You actually got to see the socket literally pop out of his shoulder, and that was lit. And he still went, and he kept going. That was like my favorite part. I thought that was crazy. Then the Triple Threat Knockouts title defense against Taya Valkyrie, ODB, and I think Jordan Grace was okay. Didn't find much from memorable, but other than the Monsters Ball match from Slammiversary. I think I reviewed that one, but I never uploaded it. I don't know, because I feel like Impact Wrestling wasn't really on my radar that much. Other than I thought Slammiversary 2019 was one of the better pay-per-views of last year that were not WWE, Japan, or AEW related. Yeah, but still, that was SmackDown. I'm gonna talk more about the Tessa Blanchard situation or news or groundbreaking achievement, because yeah, I just wanted to say that because I've been holding in for a long time and I thought of making a separate video on it, but you know how I am. I'm inconsistent as hell. So you'll maybe see it this weekend before championship weekend, where I still have to get my picks video up, and that will happen at least before the game starts. So please, apologies if it comes out a bit short notice or a bit too long for you, depending on your patience. But still, SmackDown gets a 5 out of 10. It didn't build up much with Daniel Bryan. I think it was just trying to gel into the fact that we have guys that are building up for world title defenses, and I think they just forgot about Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt feuding for the Universal title. It feels like SmackDown got the decent portions in, but they weren't doing enough to actually feel like they were building up to the pay-per-view that's coming out in like a week from now. So please, I did not. I enjoyed the show, but it was missing up a few things. So yeah, get the 5 out of 10 out of me. I'll have a hard to kill review happen because I'm now like anxious. I never reviewed Impact on this channel, I think, and it's gonna feel different. I'm not the biggest guy on Impact. I watched the last time to be honest, the last time I watched TNA was 2013. The last time I was like constantly watching Impact because that was on Spike. Easy for me to watch back then when I was a kid. When Smackdown was like on Thursday. No, like it was still on Friday, so I was like, oh, I'm bored. I'm gonna watch some wrestling. So I would pull up some Impact and I would see like AJ Styles, Bully Raven. He was like a main eventer. Austin Aries, Bobby Roode, Eric Young, James Storm, Abyss. I don't think the Beautiful People was there until like. No, they were there, but I think they broken up back then, so it was still ODB. You saw no Awesome Kong. I don't know what happened. She was on Raw, but then I heard that she got pregnant. Then she came back later, and blah blah blah. I don't know what happened to Awesome Kong. Now she's on AEW, so that's crazy. So yeah, decent show. If you want to see John Morrison call a kid a douchebag, Sheamus just make sure that there's no men on SmackDown. I would advise you to watch it. So thank you for watching. Join the DST Nation.